Chosen one. Have you ever felt like you're walking through life alone, misunderstood, disconnected, and strangely out of place? Like no matter how kind, deep, or loving you are, true connection seems just out of reach. Let me tell you something that might finally bring clarity to your experience. You're not broken. You're chosen. This feeling isn't random. It's often the result of carrying a higher spiritual frequency. In psychology and metaphysics, individuals who operate on a higher level of consciousness tend to prioritize truth, integrity, and purpose. This naturally sets them apart in a world where superficiality is often celebrated. When you carry a divine light, it doesn't just illuminate, it exposes. And that light can be uncomfortable for people still living in denial, fear, or emotional darkness. Your presence becomes a mirror, reflecting truths they may not be ready to confront. It's not that you repel them, your light reveals what they've tried to hide. This can make forming connections feel almost impossible. But don't mistake that isolation for rejection. It's actually sacred preparation. As your frequency evolves, you begin craving truth over company, peace over popularity, and purpose over comfort. In fact, according to studies in social psychology, highly self-aware and emotionally intelligent individuals often experience periods of loneliness, not due to social ineptitude, but because their values filter out shallow connections. So yes, your circle may shrink, but it becomes more aligned. The loneliness you feel is not emptiness, it's sacred space. It's divine alignment in progress, preparing you for the relationships your soul actually deserves. You're not alone because you're lacking. You're alone because you're becoming more conscious, more authentic, more connected to God and your purpose. Stay with me as we explore the 7 profound reasons why chosen ones often walk alone, but not forever. If this resonates like the video, subscribe to help us reach our 1000 subscriber goal and comment the number 99 to agree with this truth. That number symbolizes divine completeness and a new spiritual beginning. This isn't punishment, it's preparation. Point 1. Your energy is too intense for most people. Chosen ones don't just enter a room, they transform it. It's not in the clothes you wear or the words you speak. It's in the weight of your presence. Your aura is not light and fluffy like a summer breeze. No, it's ancient like thunder rumbling through time, laced with truth, prophetic insight, and spiritual authority. People feel it before you even say a word. That's why you notice the sudden shift when you walk in. The room tightens, conversations falter, and some folks suddenly find a reason to leave. It's not paranoia, it's energetic reality. Science tells us that human energy fields extend several feet beyond our physical bodies. Yours just happens to hit with the force of an emotional earthquake. Ever heard someone mumble, "I don't know what it is about you, but..." That's code. Translation: your authenticity exposes their facade. Your energy doesn't match surface-level intentions, it reveals them. You're a mirror that reflects back what people try so hard to bury. That's why they avoid you, dismiss you, or label you as too intense. It's not that you're doing too much. It's that your light reveals their darkness and they're not ready to face it. Your spirit triggers what they've been pretending not to feel. Let's talk relationships. Oh, how they fumble. You crave something rare: depth, truth, alignment, spiritual connection. But the world is filled with emotionally immature individuals who confuse chemistry with chaos. You're not here for temporary thrills or masked affection. You want divine resonance. You want someone who speaks soul, not ego. And until that shows up, you're content walking alone. Not lonely, just unwilling to compromise. Psychologically, it's been shown that people are drawn to what's familiar, even if it's unhealthy. You, however, break that cycle. You feel different because you are different. You didn't come here to blend in. You came to wake people up, to shift energy, challenge illusions, and raise vibrations. So the next time someone avoids you, misunderstands you, or walks away, don't shrink. Stand taller. That's confirmation. You're not here to be comfortable, you're here to be consecrated. Let them squirm in the presence of your truth. Keep walking, keep glowing, because your very existence is the sermon they never wanted to hear but desperately needed. Point 2. You were born with a higher calling. Spirit warrior, you're not alone. You're called spirit warrior. You weren't sent here to blend in with the crowd or dim your light to match the room. You were sent here to stand apart, to walk a path so sacred, so unique, that few can walk it beside you. While the world is busy chasing trends, building followings, and obsessing over likes and weekend plans, you're anchoring yourself in something deeper. You're laying down spiritual roots, nurturing your connection with the divine and listening for whispers from the heavens that others are too distracted to hear. This world is loud and it glorifies noise, social noise, media noise, emotional noise. But your path? It demands stillness. It requires a kind of inner quiet that makes most people uncomfortable. While others swipe right and chase fleeting thrills, you're decoding divine messages in your dreams, fasting to sharpen your spirit and sitting with silence so profound that it echoes with God's voice. You've traded the temporary for the eternal, and that decision sets you apart in ways many can't understand. The solitude you feel isn't punishment, it's preparation. Friendships may fade, not because you failed, but because they weren't meant to go where you're headed. Relationships may end, not because you're broken, but because they were never meant to survive the altitude of your ascent. Just like climbers can't take unnecessary baggage to the peak of a mountain, your spiritual evolution requires you to travel light. Sometimes that means walking alone. Here's the truth that no one says out loud. You're not alone because you're cursed. You're alone because you're called. You've been marked by heaven for a higher assignment. And those who are chosen to carry spiritual weight often do so in silence. Elijah hid in the cave. Moses wandered the wilderness. Even Christ withdrew to the desert. Separation isn't a sign of abandonment. It's a sacred invitation. So let the world spin on. Let others chase what they will. Your mission isn't to fit in. It's to awaken, to rise, and to walk in divine alignment. You're being set apart for impact, refined in the quiet, and elevated through your obedience. This isn't isolation. This is consecration. Spirit warrior, the call on your life is too loud to ignore and too powerful to share with just anyone. Embrace it. Point 3. You expose hidden darkness. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Chosen one. Your light doesn't just illuminate, it exposes. And that exposure, it shakes people to their core. You weren't sent here to blend in, you were sent to stand out, and that standing out makes some folks squirm. Why? Because when you enter a room, you're not just a presence, you're a mirror, a spiritual mirror. Without saying a word, your energy holds people accountable. Your truth, your kindness, your discipline, your peace. It all speaks louder than their excuses. That's not just personality, that's divine alignment. You live in a way that highlights what others have buried. Your light, quite literally, disturbs their shadows. You're not judging them, but your walk reminds them of everything they've compromised. Your loyalty reminds them of their betrayal. Your purity reminds them of their dirt. Your purpose reminds them of their procrastination. So what do? They get weird. Suddenly they're passive-aggressive, cold, distant. They ghost you or talk about you behind your back. They'll even accuse you of being too much, fake, or intimidating because spiritual conviction feels like a personal attack when someone's heart isn't right. This isn't just awkward social tension. This is spiritual warfare in disguise. Ephesians 6:12 reminds us that we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against spiritual forces. That strange energy in the room? It's not just vibes, it's resistance. And often, the more spiritually aligned you become, the more others' spiritual misalignment becomes obvious. Not to you, to them. You didn't come to judge, but your presence reveals their judgment of themselves. Chosen one, don't shrink to make others comfortable. That discomfort they feel around you is their spirit recognizing they've fallen out of alignment. That awkward energy is conviction knocking at their soul's door. And here's the kicker. God will even use their mistreatment of you to teach them. While they plot or pout, God is preparing a lesson. And you just keep shining. Don't get bitter, get better, rise higher, love harder, stay purer. Because eventually those who pushed you away will either repent or regret it. And when they finally realize you knew their intentions all along but still chose grace over revenge, they'll sit in the regret while you soar in purpose. Point 4. Your love is too pure for the average relationship. In a world where love is often traded like currency, casual, instant, and shallow, the chosen ones love with a depth that confuses many. You don't date just to pass the time or chase validation. You don't flirt to fill a void or silence your loneliness. You love with divine purpose. You're not looking for a moment. You're looking for a mission. You desire a partner who understands spiritual warfare, not just pillow talk. Someone who will hold your hand through fire, not just candlelight dinners. You crave a sacred union, not a social media highlight reel. While the world glamorizes hookup culture and celebrates emotional detachment as strength, your heart operates on a different frequency. You're not built for surface-level connections. You carry a love that's meant to transform, to elevate, to heal. And that kind of love? It's rare. It's raw. It's real. It threatens people who aren't ready to be seen at the soul level, because your love sees past facades. It notices wounds, intentions, and patterns. And when they realize they can't manipulate you, charm you into submission, or use you as a temporary thrill, they run. Not because you're too much, but because you're too true. People are attracted to your energy, but few are prepared to match your essence. They want your warmth without your wisdom, your presence without your purpose. But God didn't make your heart to be mishandled. You're not here to be someone's lesson. You're here to be someone's answered prayer. And until that prayer is fulfilled, solitude becomes your sanctuary, not your punishment. Studies show that people who practice intentional singleness often develop higher self-awareness, spiritual growth, and emotional intelligence. That's exactly what you've been cultivating. You're not waiting in loneliness. You're preparing in sacred stillness. Because when the right one arrives, they won't be intimidated by your light. They'll honor it, protect it, and partner with it. So let the counterfeits fall away. Let the distracted become distant. You're not missing out, you're being set apart, and when God finally sends the one, they won't see you as an option. They'll recognize you as the blessing, the weapon, the wonder you've always been. Until then, stay rooted, stay pure, stay powerful. Your love is a prophecy waiting to be fulfilled. Point 5. You're in a season of pruning, not punishment. Let's take a holy moment, and a hilarious one too. Ever feel like God is out here cleaning up your contact list like he's running out of iCloud storage? Unfriended, blocked, ghosted, unmatched. You check your phone and think, wait, didn't I used to talk to them every day? Don't panic, Earth Angel, you're not going crazy. It's pruning season, and it's not random, it's divine. John 15:2 breaks it down with spiritual precision. He cuts off every branch that doesn't bear fruit, and he prunes the ones that do so, they bear even more. That verse isn't just poetic, it's a sacred pruning policy. Just like gardeners trim healthy branches to boost a tree's growth, God snips off relationships, habits, and even opportunities that no longer serve your future. Think of it as heavenly landscaping. You're not being punished, you're being prepared. Now here's where it gets deep. Sometimes God doesn't wait for the blessing to show up before he starts removing people. He does it beforehand because he knows not everyone around you can handle your next level. Some folks are cool with you as long as you stay small, predictable, or in pain. But elevation exposes hearts. Blessings reveal intentions. When your light gets brighter, their shade gets deeper, and that's why God steps in. He's not being petty, he's being protective. It may hurt, yes. It may feel like betrayal, but that disconnection is often divine. You thought it was rejection, but it was really redirection. You're not losing friends, you're losing dead weight. God sees what you can't. He hears the conversations behind closed doors, reads the texts you were never meant to see, and understands the jealousy that smiles in your face. So when he starts deleting contacts from your life, don't fight to add them back. Trust the pruning. Science even backs this up. Emotional well-being improves when we release toxic or unbalanced relationships. Neurologically, our brains experience less stress and more clarity when we are surrounded by uplifting, supportive people. Spiritually, pruning makes room for purpose. So let them unfollow. Let them go silent. Let them walk away. They were never meant to carry the blessing that's coming your way. You're not being punished, you're being positioned. Pruning isn't the end, it's the setup for your supernatural growth. Trust it. Point 6. You can't be distracted from the mission. Chosen ones, relationships are beautiful, but the wrong relationship? That's a divine distraction wrapped in a pretty package. You're not here just to exist. You're here on assignment. You didn't come to Earth just to chase feelings or lose yourself in temporary attachments. You came with a mission, a soul contract, and a spiritual job description that's coded into your very being. And while love can be one of life's greatest gifts, it can also become one of its sneakiest detours when it pulls you away from your divine path. Some people are placed in your life as blessings, others as lessons. And then there are those wrapped in charm, attraction, and false compatibility, who are nothing more than delays dressed as destiny. These are the ones who show up just when you're on the edge of breakthrough. Their energy is seductive. They don't look like danger, but deep down they don't align with your calling, your values, or your vibration. And if you get too close, they'll detour you from your destiny without you even realizing it. That's why discernment is crucial. Let's be real, if God gave you everything you thought you wanted right now, including that relationship you've been praying for, you'd probably get too comfortable. You'd start prioritizing Bay's voice over God's whisper. You'd slowly tune out your intuition to keep the peace. Before long, your spiritual signal gets fuzzy, and your mission gets shelved. That's why God isolates you, not to punish, but to preserve. It's divine strategy. Isolation is divine insulation. Think of it like being in a spiritual greenhouse, where you're protected, nurtured, and allowed to grow without the noise of misaligned connections. Because when your assignment is this high, the noise must be low. Your focus has to be razor sharp. You can't afford emotional distractions disguised as romantic adventures. This isn't the season to get entangled. This is the season to get aligned. So don't envy the ones booed up for the gram. They may have company, but you've got clarity. You're not waiting, you're preparing. And when it's time, the right relationship won't distract you. It will accelerate you. Until then, keep your eyes on the mission, your heart protected, and your spirit tuned in. God's plan, your feelings, always. Point 7. Your journey is sacred, not shared. Here's the final truth. Spirit warrior. Some paths in life are divinely designed to be walked alone, and though solitude may feel like exile, it's actually sacred ground. Consider this. Jesus, before stepping into his public ministry, was led by the Spirit into the wilderness, alone. Not to be punished, but to be prepared. Moses ascended Mount Sinai by himself, not with a crowd, to receive a revelation that would change the course of history. Elijah, weary and broken, was led into the quiet of the wilderness, where he didn't hear God in the wind or fire, but in a still, small voice. There's a recurring pattern here. Those who are chosen are often separated before they are revealed. Your silence in this season is not emptiness, it's instruction. When people fall away, when noise fades, and when doors seem to shut in your face, it's not rejection, it's redirection. That quiet space you've been forced into, that's where God sharpens your hearing. That's where your spirit becomes laser-focused. Studies in neuroscience show that solitude increases clarity, creativity, and self-awareness. When you're alone, you're not distracted by the opinions or energies of others. You become intimately familiar with your inner compass, your intuition, your calling, your truth. Your isolation is not a punishment. It's a holy invitation, a launch pad. Rockets don't launch in a crowd. They rise from a still platform, surrounded by silence, then burst into the heavens. In the same way, your current season is launching you into higher realms, spiritually, emotionally, mentally. You are being refined like gold in fire, purified of ego, insecurity, and distractions. What's being stripped from you now is making room for what's coming. And when that moment arrives, when your tribe, your purpose, your platform shows up, you won't cling to it out of desperation. You won't need their approval to feel whole. Why? Because you've already found wholeness in the wilderness. Because God has already confirmed you in private before presenting you in public. So walk boldly, spirit warrior. Your path may feel lonely, but it is never without purpose. In this sacred silence, your spirit is being prepared for impact. Stay faithful, stay grounded. The solitude won't last forever, but the strength it builds in you will. Spirit warriors, if you remember nothing else, remember this. You're not alone because you're unwanted. You're alone because you're anointed. Friendships may fail, lovers may leave, but your connection to God is eternal. This is not the end of your story. It's the beginning of your becoming. Stay patient, stay pure, stay powerful. Because when your time comes, they won't just want to be your friend, they'll wish they never left. Stay awake, stay chosen. Until next time, spirit warriors, keep walking with fire.